Fizz Buzz. So my first thought is to work in pieces. First, I think I need to be able to at least build a loop that will count up to whatever number is given, um, and then write some kind of result that many times, giving a space. So I just made the stand-in variable n, because n is going to be the third number in the list of numbers that's given, and it tells us what to count up to. So that means that this loop is going to have to print out either the number in the series or Fizz Buzz or Fizz Buzz. But first I just want to have a loop that will, I know I can trust, I can run and do what it's supposed to do. So I starts at 1 or indexer, and it's going to it's going to run as long as it's less than or equal to n. So when it hits whatever the n number is the user gave, it'll stop. And each loop around, it's going to increment this by 1. So I tested this, and it works. Okay, it gives what it's supposed to give. And now I'm going to go on to the next step. And what I'm going to try to do is create just some bool values for whether it's 3 different conditions are true or false. And then I'll base those conditions on what it decides to print out, whether it's Fizz, Buzz, or just the number. So what I've done here so far is I created this new variable called series count. This is going to be the numbers as you run through the series of numbers. If the user enters 6 for the number that you're going to count up to, the series count is going to be those incrementing numbers that go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop at 6. Now, every time it hits one of those numbers, that's going to be beginning of a loop, and it's going to, after series count becomes 2, for instance. Say you're on a loop where it hits 2. The next thing it's going to do is it's going to check these conditions. It's going to say condition 1 will become true if this is true. If x is divisible by the series count number, which is currently 2, and y is not. So it's got to check x and it's got to check y. X and y never change once they're entered from the beginning, but it's always got to check them here. And if this is true, then it's going to go do something. If it's false, it's going to move on to this check the next condition, because this is exclusive. If it's this, it can't be these two. So it's going to check the opposite. If y is divisible and x is not, then it's going to do something. That's going to be the Fizz or Buzz. And then it's going to, if neither one of these are true, because if they're both not true, I mean they're exclusive. They can only be true. The other things can't be. So we're going to check the last condition, where x and y it's true that they're both divisible by the series count. And then if that's true, it's going to print Fizz Buzz. I'm also going to have something to happen when no bool condition is true. It's a note to myself. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but now I've got to set this up into something just to test it. So here we go. Okay, so what I did here was I added these, we already had the bool conditions, right? So now I've added this this little tester right here. So I use this bool variable, this bool type variable here, condition 1. And so it checks if that's true. If all that's true, that x is divisible by this series count variable and y isn't, it'll write fizz. And or else it's going to check if that's not true, it's going to check this condition about the buzz condition. And if that's true, to write buzz, or else it will, you know what? I don't think I checked the third condition. Then what if it's both? And then we're going to have to write the number, because there's also Fizz Buzz. Fix that real fast in real time. Yeah. So we also need a else if condition 3 and if condition 3 is a case, console write line, and then we'll write Fizz Buzz. This ultimately would be FB and FB and FB. So now we just need to check. Okay, let's pick a number where condition 3 would come true. Let's say that our series count number we landed on was 6, which would be divisible by y and x, right? It would be condition 3. So it should print out Fizz Buzz when we run this. And it does. So that's a good thing. So it all works. Oh, let's check out if it's neither. Let's pick a number that 2 and 3 are not either divisible by. We'll do 7. Now I'm going to run this, and it just writes the series count number, which is 7. So when we have this in a row, it's going to print FB or FB, or it's going to write the series count number. Then it's got to go through this loop again. So now it's got to figure out how to increment this series count number with each loop, and that's got to happen outside of this. This has to happen inside of this changing. This can't all happen at the same time. Well, let me work on it, and I'll be back. Okay, so here's where we are now. This variable is going to be the first one in the string. That's our x factor. The second variable in the string given will be the y factor to divide by, and then this is the number to count up to. So it'll be 1, 2, 3 numbers in that string that I parse out. This is just a variable created to keep track of how many times this is supposed to loop around. Well, it has to change because each time around it's going to test whether or not the number, whether or not x or y is divisible or not, or both are, and I'm not sure where to put it yet. But for now I have this loop I set up. Okay, it's going to iterate until it's going to start at 1 and loop until it counts up to 6. So the first loop, it's going to have x and y already. That stays constant through the whole application, at least for now. So it's going to loop through this, and now these conditions will be set. And after they're set, we'll test the condition of each one and do something according to what that condition is. And actually, these should just be a write, because we don't want to return, because the next time we print, it's going to be on the same line. All these are on the same line. So we'll just do write. And I added a space after each, so they'll be spaced out as we go. But it's only going to write one of these. And after it decides which one to write, it needs to loop around increment this, set these conditions again, and then run this, test the conditions, write down one of these options, and move on. So our series count variable actually needs to be up here. And where does that come from? So maybe in. Maybe this should be this. Is that the same thing as this? No, it's not. Oh. So series count. I think this needs to happen in here because that changes based on what happens here. So before we even get to setting the bool conditions, we need that series count to change based on this. So series count is going to equal, it's going to equal whatever I is. Because I starts at 1. So the first time around, this will be 1. Actually, series count, I don't really need that, do I? I could just make this I. Yeah. This is a fact. This is a fact. Oh, okay. Let's take series count. I wasn't talking to you, Siri. Let me pause this and fix this up. Okay, this is where we are. We have X, we got the Y, which we'll parse later. We have the count to number, which would be the third number in the string. And I figured I didn't need that other variable. And this is Y. So I starts off at 1. It's going to run, this whole thing is going to run until it's less than, as while, I keep saying it wrong, as while as this is true, as while as I is less than or equal to what the count to number is, which is 12. Basically means it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then stop and kick out and end right here. So it's going to check these conditions. I is 1 at this first loop. Divide by that is equals 0. And is that? That's true. Blah, blah, blah. We already been through this. This checks the conditions. It's going to write FB or FB in a space. So we should have 12 numbers concluding FB or FB. Actually, we should have F. Well, I'm not going to do it on my mind, but let's just check it. That's the best thing to do. Okay, so let's see. I know for a fact 2 and 3 are both divisible by 12, so our 12th number should be Fizz Buzz, which it is. 12 is Fizz Buzz. 10 is divisible by X only, so that's Fizz. That's 2. 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. That's divisible by 2 only. 4 is divisible by 2 only. Oh, this is a great one. It works. Okay, and the ones divisible by 3 should be B's. So that's 3 is divisible by 3. 12, 11, 10, 9 is by 3. Okay, so this works. This works. Now we got to figure out how to parse these out of into an array and then pop those array things. X and Y are eventually going to become, they're going to call on the array parts to fill in here. But we'll figure that out. Got this far. Actually, here, coming back on this, I was just thinking that this bool condition, I'm wondering if it should live inside of this. inside of this, what would happen if I don't know if it makes sense to put that inside of this parentheses. If that really makes it any better. Well, let's just try. Let's comment this out. Let's replace. Let's take this whole thing, copy it, and put it in here for condition 1. No, why would I do that? It doesn't like it. Just out of curiosity, what if I took these out? Does that make it nicer? No. It's all this crap. And that's all bad juju. No, let's not do that. It's not even necessary. Let's bring you back. Okay. Back to thinking. Okay, so far so good. I've got the string line array issue thing going on here, where say I'm given a string with the 3 digits, and we convert that into an array and split it. We convert it to we put this into an array called input, and we use this white space delimiter and split, what is it called, a method to split this variable called line and put them into this array called input. So we obviously going to get 3 values out of here, indexed at 0, 1, and 2. And then we take those 3 variables, those 3 items, 0, 1, and 2, and I assign them to x, y, and n, which takes the place of this thing I was doing here. So the same thing is happening down here. Now that we know what x, y, and n are, I changed this to n so that it would match the variable I assigned the count to. It was called the count to number, but officially it's n. So now this all runs okay. 10, 5, and 50 means that it's going to count up to 50, and every time it hits a number that's a multiple of or 10, it's going to do a fizz and a buzz for every number it's a multiple of 5, which really we should have a B every 5, on 5, 10, 15, 20. And then when we get to the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, we'll also have FB. There'll be no B's by themselves because only multiples of 50 will also be multiples of 5. So that this will only get triggered on the 10s. This is what it looks like. So here are 5s, we have B on 5, and at 10 we have FB, and at 15 we have 5, and at 20, as you expect, we have FB, and it goes on and on, all the way up to the 50th number. So that is good. Now I have to figure out how to have it read one line then the next. I'm not sure that's necessary. Okay, so I forgot to come back. I was so excited that it worked. I forgot to come back and say what happened. So I took the code from input line here on down to just the actually console right here, and the loop worked perfectly. We got the input, we split the input that they gave into 3 variables, assigned and gave them integer values, and then fed them into this loop where n was the number we were counting to. Every time it iterated, I went up. We checked X and Y against I, if they were true or not, if they were each condition was true or not. These Boolean types. We determined what to print, and then ran it again and again until we hit our number. And I guess they automatically fed in another line. I didn't have to worry about that. And I had to remember, failed the first time because I didn't put a console write line in order to write the next set of numbers on another line. I added that, and it took it 100 points, and it was 100%. And that's how that ended up.